Hey everyone, welcome to another week of e-commerce marketing chats where with special guest today, Paul Ramondo. I've known Paul. Actually, Paul, I was just thinking about this today. I think you were the second Facebook ads course that I ever took, and that was way back. I think probably yeah. I was just about to say. I think it was 26, 20. So, Paul's been in kind of the ad buying space for a long time, had a lot of experience client side, working with own clients. He's even had co-ownership in one of his own kind of supplement marketplaces at some point, and worked with one of the biggest supplement companies in Australia at other points too. I know, COVID was probably a rough time for you because a lot of your clients in the space were kind of hotels and events like festivals and things like that. So understandably may have had to pivot a little bit at that point as well. But he's also spoken on some of the biggest marketing stages in the world. I think every time I went on Instagram, Paul was flying to another event to speak. So heavily regarded in the space and made some good connections through his good work and has a reputation for being kind of a bit of a thought leader in the Facebook and Meta ad buying space. But yeah, I think more than anything else, Paul's been a really solid friend of mine for a decent period of time now. I know we've, especially running your own business, and Charles would know this too, running his own as well can get lonely. And sometimes when you're working by yourself, like you can only really discuss certain things with other people that are also in the trenches and kind of know exactly where you're coming from, what you're doing. But it's also nice to have some people in your circle that you can bounce ideas off as well or talk about what's happening in the space. And yeah, just I feel like it strengthens the relationship too. So, Paul, I'm sure you've got some other stuff you can add in the little intro there to your background. But yeah, I think today we'd just like to discuss all things Facebook ads or Meta ad buying, Instagram. It's probably the media buying side that we've covered the least. So, really keen to just get you on here and just talk general strategy, where people can start, and all the basic level stuff basically, and any advanced stuff that you want to throw in there later on. I'm all ears too.
But what an intro. Well, thank you, Jimmy, and thank you for having me, Charles. Yeah, you've summed it up pretty well, Jimmy. I think there's not really too much else to add. COVID was a fun time for sure. You do well to niche down and throw all your eggs in a certain niche and kind of diversify within that niche. And it's funny when how do I say? It's funny when you do the right things and then something completely inane or unpredictable comes along and kind of just ruins it for you. So yeah,
Just saying, Charles, when I logged in, I did smile because the internal marketer in me, I saw Paul's name down the bottom, and he had his URL down there. So plugging that on the chat as well, I was like, Paul is a marketer at heart, and as soon as I
oh
saw
yeah,
the domain name, I was like, "That's so smart! I need
you gotta
to
do it.
I
We got to
need to
plug.
do that." Yeah, exactly. It was really smart. So yeah, it did make me smile when I jumped in. And let's jump straight into it, Paul, like meta buying side. So basically, mm, I'll kind of ask kind of what my clients are kind of asking me at the moment, and I kind of give vague answers because I'm not across the Facebook landscape and I don't offer it as a service. But I think Facebook, for me, Facebook specifically, there's really two parts because I tend to get asked about, do I do the Facebook ads, which is no, but then the other parts for businesses too is, oh, do you have someone that can manage the social side? I find like the organic posts, I find it hard to find anyone that does both. So they seem like two completely different skill sets almost in terms of being on the media buying side or running kind of the organic side. Just in your experience when dealing with Meta, when you typically run the paid side, are you working with someone else that's doing kind of the organic side in teams, or do you do both for businesses? Like, how does it work from that side?
Yeah, great question. So I personally don't touch doing organic, but I will. I think as a paid advertiser, we perform best when we're working with a team internally that's managing the organic social. And if they're getting runs on the board using organic social, it just is a really nice litmus test as to how successful the paid ads are going to be. So if you're generating sales organically with organic content from a community that you've grown from nothing, it probably suggests that you're going to be quite successful on the paid ad side of things. But yeah, in terms of do I manage the organic side? No. Do I advise on content which would be successful or might be, might work well on the organic side? 100% absolutely. Do I do my own organic content when I'm in promo mode? Yes, 100% for my own brand, for sure. But yeah, no, in terms of my understanding, I don't really see. So I'm just getting a bunch of feedback. I'm not sure if it's coming on either of your side.
No,
I'll just be on my
you
side.
just
Just turn my voice down. It's all good, all good. But yeah, so in terms of doing both, no, it typically doesn't, from my experience, doesn't seem to happen because they are kind of different skills.
yeah, no,
Very
that
similar,
makes
isn't it?
complete sense.
I was going to say it's very similar with like SEO and Google Ads. It's like
That's a great
people
analogy.
think it's the same remit. It's like completely different skill sets, and yeah, it's
It's like same but different, right?
yeah, exactly. It's the same. It's the same platform, but just it's a completely different way of doing things. And I think you're right. You've got to have the best results are always when organic and paid are in synergy, and you're actually able to kind of liaise with the organic side of things or the paid side of the paid guys.
100%. I think also there's a nuance between everything's like how long's a piece of string. It all goes back to the strategy, to the brand, what's working, what's not. There are nuances between what you're doing with paid ads and who you're appearing to with paid ads versus who you're appearing to with organic ads or organic content rather. And also like what's the use case behind organic versus paid? With paid, depending on your budget, you can be extremely specific in terms of, okay, we're just trying to generate video views for our top of funnel engagement, or we're trying to retarget our hottest people at the bottom of the funnel or the middle of the funnel, or we're trying to grow our email list. Whereas with your organic, it's more of a scattergun. Depending on the brand, like what it is that you're doing, and you might be telling different brand stories on your organic channel versus your paid channel, which you're really just trying to go for the cutthroat kill and get the conversion.
Yeah, makes sense.
So as a byproduct of that, you're going to have very different content showing up organically. And I mean, also like with the paid ads, because you can be so specific about who you're showing them to. A lot of the paid ad content, even if it's like reel based content or carousel based content, wouldn't make sense if it was just showing up in an organic feed because, well, you're talking to someone that might be the middle to bottom of funnel. So it makes no sense for them to see, well, here's product feature 1, 2, 3, 4, this widget that I'm trying to sell you because I know that you visited 4 product pages and you're really interested in buying this widget, you know?
Yeah, there's
On
more
the
of a
content
science to the
side,
paid ad.
Paul. Sorry, Charles.
No, go ahead. It's all good, Jim.
Charles, I don't know if you can turn your mic up a little bit. I'm like Paul's is super loud in my ears, and I'm struggling to hear you.
I can turn my mic
Um,
down potentially.
it might have been the feedback you were getting to Paul, because my headphones is right next to the microphone, so you're potentially
That
hearing
might have been the
yourself through
feedback.
my headphones.
Yeah, I wasn't getting the feedback on Charles. That makes sense. Because you know when you're getting the feedback and you're talking and then like you're hearing yourself 2 seconds delayed, you're like, oh,
On the content side, Paul, so this is like how much, if any, is like AI playing a part in your content strategy? First, like for the Facebook ad buying side, some people that run meta ads, they get the client to produce the content. Like, where do you sit on that? Are you producing the images for the client, or are they producing it and you're just running the ads? And if you are producing it, I'm seeing like brands being able to test like hundreds of different creatives through AI now with slight variations. Is that part of your workflow at the moment, or is it something that you're still exploring? Or
definitely
yeah,
something,
few
definitely, yeah,
questions in
yeah.
there, but
For sure. Definitely something I'm still exploring. I was on a sabbatical for the majority of last year, so I'm very much ramping up and getting back into the big swing of things. In terms of how we've partnered and worked best with clients, we typically work best when they've got a team, the client has a team producing content internally, and we advise strategically on what content's going to work for different parts of the funnel and get their team to do it. In terms of how we're using AI at the moment, one of the best use cases we've had at the moment outside of actually creating the content is optimizing headlines, positioning, and ad copy creative or ad copy rather.
yeah, it makes sense, especially if because even if they're providing like the imagery, I'm guessing you're still writing the copy for the actual ad
Correct.
itself. Yeah,
They'll provide us with like a very basic brief of what the product might be about or what the service might be about, and then we'll. Back in the day, we used to have copywriters that would go and kind of extrapolate everything out, or I'd go and do the copy earlier in my career. Now it's kind of removed the need for that and allows us to generate hundreds of different like positioning ideas at scale, and then we then refine it. Uh, it's interesting as well. Like I still Meta's introduced, I mean, did this quite a while ago, but introduced a lot of those features, like the copy variation features natively into the ads manager. I still to this day, millions of dollars worth of spend since those features have been introduced. I've not used them once.
No, I'm the same. I'm actually the same with Google because Google have done the same thing. I was like, no, I just want to write this myself. Like, you see what they produce, and they're like, oh, no, let's just pass on that. But on the, it's interesting because I know you've created a lot of content personally. Just like a hypothetical, if you were to run your own e-commerce brand from scratch, like what channel would you start on? I know you've done some amazing stuff on YouTube,
That's a
you're on
great, good
Instagram.
question.
Like, where would you start?
I guess it would really depend on the niche. So if you give me a niche, I can give you a hypothetical.
Charles, do you want to throw out a niche? Because you know what I'm going to throw out.
Yeah, all right, let's go. It's one of my clients. This will be an interesting one, probably. Automotive parts. They
Automotive
sell
parts.
automotive. Yeah,
Yeah.
they sell
YouTube.
automotive parts. Yeah, yeah.
YouTube,
That makes
100%.
sense, actually.
Long, long,
Yeah,
long tail YouTube SEO optimized headlines and copy. And I imagine the person who's selling those parts to the cars is like a rev head and like knows a bunch about the cars. Long tail YouTube search is your friend. Organically, if you want to you hit the ground running, and it will take some time, but I think within 3 to 6 months of posting content 2 to 3 times a week, long tail, and then chopping those and using AI to chop those long tail pieces of content up into shorts. And then when you're distributing the shorts, making sure that you're not, there's a fun fact. So if you're distributing shorts, there's going to be a button, and whether you have 100 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers, you're going to have this box, and it's going to be show to, I forget the exact name of the box, but it's going to be something like distribute to your subscribers or show to your subscribers. You want to make sure that box is unticked, because if you tick that box, whilst it seems like a good idea, it's going to limit your reach to only the people that you're subscribed to. So you want to untick that box and just let the algorithm do its thing. And the interesting thing with the YouTube Shorts algorithm, which I found very different to both TikTok and Instagram Reels, is that the long tail results you get from the YouTube Shorts far outweigh the long tail results you get from TikTok and Reels. And I think that's because of the YouTube SEO, a keyword nature of how you do the titles. So I digress. So the answer would be YouTube Shorts, YouTube long form YouTube content, which you can then use AI to cut up into 60-second shorts, maybe a little bit longer, depending. I'm pretty sure shorts is now longer than 60 seconds. And YouTube SEO using a tool like TubeBuddy or something similar to first discover the keywords and then optimize the shorts and the long form content for discoverability and see how you go.
it's interesting because actually one of the clients that I had in mind, he actually built a big YouTube following within that space. So yeah, obviously matches up to the strategy that you were suggesting. Seems to be
On
a
that too,
good
Charles, like
niche.
Paul just mentioned something that I haven't done and I actually haven't considered because none of my clients really have massive YouTube channels. But have you ever gone into the back end of their YouTube channel to actually see how people are finding them? Just being from and the SEO side, it's like, well, if they're finding them on YouTube from this search term, maybe we want to create something on the website to optimize for that as well and put the video that they're all looking for too.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Jimmy. No would be the short answer to that. I don't have access to their analytics because it's not an area that I've worked on. Having said that, we are starting to take like the best performing videos from YouTube and then effectively create an AI supporting blog content to be used on the website as part of like a kind of content hub. So that's kind of one thing that we've started to do is taking those video transcribes, turning it into a blog post, and using it as additional content. But yeah,
Are you doing the reverse?
what as in taking the blogs and then
The best performing
turning
blog
yeah
content and then repurposing it to YouTube.
yeah a little bit of that.
Nice.
Although we've kind of stopped. They actually had a writer that they hired, and obviously with AI coming in, I think they thought maybe we don't need a writer anymore. So I've basically been playing around with taking their videos, which they're publishing, like you mentioned, the same strategy 2-3 times a week, and then turning those into blogs.
Nice.
It seems to be performing well.
Nice.
Yeah, and the keywords, like, because we've spoken a lot on this show about how Google Search Console is like the hidden
Oh
golden
yes.
like information space for kind of blog creation. But like I said to Charles, this is why we do this show and this is why we talk every week, because there's always one little nugget that you pick up from everyone or even each other. And that like that golden nugget for me straight away is, oh my gosh, I've never actually looked on the YouTube channels of my clients to see how they're actually finding them there. Like sure you can go to their page and just see what their most viewed videos are, but I'm thinking more of having a look at the back end analytics from their YouTube side,
And then even just
which
paying a subscription to something like TubeBuddy.
mm,
TubeBuddy is such a powerful tool, and even you just do a month TubeBuddy subscription and use the analytics functionality. Granted, the channel needs to be big enough to really like make it. I mean, you might pay $10 and get a decent little nugget of a wisdom. Oh, that was worth like $10. But you know what I'm saying? The competitor analysis tools inside of TubeBuddy, the keyword suggestion tools, discoverability search tools inside of TubeBuddy, are absolutely incredible.
even from the like in the I know I've spoken to you, Paul, previously about a client that I'm working on that's kind of retail supplement. Like we're kind of exploring ways that they can implement more video. And basically I want a 20-second summary of, because they're naturopaths as well. So I want like a 20-second summary of them holding up the product and being like, this is what you should use for, this is what I recommended it for on the website. So when they're scrolling through the photos, there's a video there as well. But then I just want to repurpose that across like different video channels for when people are looking up, hey, what's the benefit of X supplement? And then they're like, oh, cool. There's like a really 20-second video. I just want to find out what the main things are. I don't want to watch some 10-minute video on,
Mhm.
the science of it all. I just, what are people using this for? So, I think videos becoming more and more important and less e-commerce
Mm.
businesses are doing it. Same on the blog side. Like I was never sold on the blogs, and especially when AI came out, I found a lot of the informational websites, affiliate sites, are like died off because people will be typing in something that they want the answer for, and the AI snippet is answering it for before they even reach a website. But I've kind of parked that thought for a moment because I've been testing the blogs on a couple of e-commerce clients, and even the one I sent to Charles, I think I wrote the blog like, I don't know, like 4 weeks ago. It's already getting like close to 80 clicks a week, and that's pretty good for that amount of time. But I feel like
Mm.
over the next 12 months, that's going to compound
Rev
to
up, yeah,
something like quite large. So yeah, we've just been punching out blog content, and it's AI drafted up and then human edited, and then I think the key to it though, and it's the key with basically all content. Too many people are just getting on an AI, cut and pasting it over. Like I think to make it pop, almost the formatting of it on the website is more important than the actual content
mm.
itself. Making it user friendly, readable, not a block of text, got breaks of photos. You can put videos in there from YouTube as well. It's the same with YouTube. Like not everything has to be highly edited, but if the content's good, it will hold an audience. And then if you are a good editor too, it can just take it to another level in terms of, hey,
Agreed,
if you want this to get viral, you're probably going to have to do something more than great content. You're going to have great content and format it as well.
for sure. Just want to circle back in terms of you wanting to do those 20-second product descriptions for one of your e-commerce clients.
Yeah.
Maybe a rabbit hole worth going down. I'm sure you've seen it. Don't quote me on this. This is just like I haven't used it personally. It's just something that's like in the background of my brain. I believe there's an application, or there'll be similar ones, obviously, called Synthesia. Basically, it's software that allows you to rig up and create an AI like realistic type avatar of, let's say, your client, and then also get them to download their voice and their likeness into the AI avatar, and then you can just create the scripts. You could even just use the schema or like the meta descriptions and headlines to like inform, or probably you've got the product pages, so like I'm sure the product pages are there, and you could just literally feed the product into Synthesia and have the avatar speak it alive. So then basically like you get your client to do, I don't know, whatever I've not done it. This is just what I've seen from videos that I've watched, but you get them to do, an hour or whatever, maybe it's less to learn their model. And then you have access to their model and their likeness. And then you go and create all those 20-second product demos that you really want.
So funny you said that because literally just before the call, I posted a link to myself for an AI software that does that exact thing. This one was called Creatify. So I'm sure there's many out there, but you're right. Like the thing is they don't want to sit in front of the camera, but they kind of want to be the face of the brand. So it'd be a perfect way to do it. And I think another way that brands can implement AI too. And I've actually thought about it for courses. I don't want to. The hardest part almost for setting up a course is setting up a camera and the lighting and getting nice filming and audio when you're actually, because it's important when people are paying for content. You want it to be easily digestible, you want it to look good and present well. I think I will end up going just down the route of writing the content and then just having AI spit it out, and I'll never have to film a video again. Not that I don't like
Yeah,
filming videos. The filming the video is fine. It's the setting it up, it's the editing
I
it,
agree.
it's like all that stuff. And even with AI now, but there's basically an AI that people are using for podcasts that, take out all the blank space, and they do the camera changes and everything at a press of a button. I think I prefer to just like people aren't paying for content so they can see my mug on a camera. They're paying for the actual content. So as long as you're delivering high value, and the same for product descriptions, as long as they're delivering that value, the person on the other end doesn't care who's saying it.
I agree. I agree. I think down the track, like if you were to explore that again, I haven't used this software. Like just knowing what I know laterally, once you set up that kind of like workflow in terms of if you go down the product description avatar, AI avatar, you could probably then automate the whole workflow so that it takes whatever the trigger is from your website. Maybe it's posting a new product, then using say make.com or NM8, I think is another more advanced automation software. Trigger, maybe it's from product feed triggers on the website, then it goes to Synthesia, then it creates the video for you, and you don't, maybe it sends an email to you to approve, then you approve it, okay, happy, and then it automatically uploads to that product page in which it was originally generated from, and the interaction from you is like a 20-second review and an okay button. That'd be cool.
It's crazy what's coming to the chat we had last week with another Paul. We were looking at
Strong name.
we were looking at AI generated like call assistants and receptionists, but they were saying that the technology is basically at a point where if the user's coming to the site and they're logged into Shopify or anything and they have their phone number, if they're looking at a product, you could like 40 minutes later, the AI could ring them and say, "Hey, we saw you checking out this product. These are the
Personal
main
shopping assistant.
benefits." Yeah, it's like could
Amazing.
ring them and basically just give them. They can't. I asked can they do the payments over the phone, which they can't, so they'd have to get them back on the website still. But yeah, it's crazy what's
You could
coming
back
in
end
that
incentivize that,
space.
user, if you buy in the next 10 minutes or 30 minutes, use this code, get 10% off or get free thing added to car or free shipping, whatever it might be. That's cool.
100%. And I think like because especially some of my clients are drop shippers, right? And like high level drop shippers doing between probably 500K and 3 mil a month type range for on drop shipping products. But their issue is when you look up a product, unless they're like changing the imagery. I was looking up a bike that one of them was selling the other day, and the Google Ads was literally 20 products, 20 different brands, exact same photo of the exact same bike, and it's just a race to the bottom on price. I think more and more these brands are going to have to leverage different either videos or photography. Well, photography definitely. They need a different image than what everyone else is showing on that product. But these other things that are going to get people back to their brand, their email marketing, their follow up on SMS, their follow up on AI voice calls, automated videos going to their email too, like based on what products they looked at, and again, features, benefits, and what they can use it for. I think, especially if you want to compete in e-commerce at a higher level this year, you need to do the little things, but you need to do them really well. I think too many people are trying to do too much, and they often get generalist to try to cover everything. I'm a little bit biased because I'm a specialist in Google Ads. I think having a specialist on a platform is better than having like an all-encompassing agency doing everything. I am a little bit biased. I'm sure there's some great full service agencies out there. But everything that I've seen, one or two of the platforms get neglected at some point from those larger agencies. But if you've got a specialist on each one, they know that they're responsible for that one thing and they just kick it home for most brands, I would say,
100%.
from
If they're
my own
managing,
experience.
I agree, and I think if they live and breathe Google Ads or they live and breathe Meta Ads, and they're managing just Google Ads or just Meta Ads, they know the platform inside out, back to front. They know the most recent changes. They know the keyboard shortcuts. They know the quickest way to take ad from conception through to approved, and though, and then that's just like the surface level, not to mention all of the things below the surface in terms of knowing the best reporting metrics to opt and the best way to optimize and the best way to get the best return on ad spend, given the vertical, the niche, the strategy. I just think you can definitely, I think it's specialists can definitely move the needle a lot further in terms of bang for buck than in a generalist. But I could be wrong.
Yeah. The thing
I was
is
going to
on that
say.
too, you go, Charles, you go.
No, I was going to say also. I mean, the good thing about being a specialist in what you're doing is you're now able to use the AI tools to supercharge your
Correct.
processes, the results. You understand how to put better inputs into the system to get even better results. So, whereas a generalist, they might know a surface level of a particular marketing channel, but they're not able to kind of go deep and figure out what the best inputs are. So,
I
yeah,
saw
I'm agree on
actually
that as well.
on that, Charles, I saw Ty Lopez this week. He posted something, and I found it really interesting. He said everyone thinks that AI is going to level the playing field. He's like, it's not. The people that are already smart are going to take AI and use it in a way that's really smart, and they're going to like supercharge, and they're actually going to increase the gap. He's like, you've got smart people using AI to do like full analysis on everything, and you've got people that he deemed not as smart asking AI where they should eat out for dinner that night. So he's like, he said, I think that AI is going to level the playing field, but it's not. It's just going to increase the gap between people that are already doing well and can leverage that technology, basically. I agree and disagree with that at some points. Like, in terms of like I'm building a website at the moment with the help of AI, and I never would have been able to do that without hiring like a developer. So on that side, it's really kind of helped me play at like the base level, I guess. But then looking at that too, someone who is a developer that's using AI could probably build the website in what would have taken them a couple of hours, probably could do it in 20 minutes now.
Yeah,
I think it's
Paul.
coming for everything.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's really taking over in terms of what you can do. Like I said, I think it does even the playing field a little bit though. Literally yesterday, I wrote a PDF ebook, something that I'm planning on launching soon. I'm not a writer. Like it would have taken me literally months. I would have probably procrastinated, and but now you have the right framework. You have what you're looking to achieve, and you can get it punched out in under 10-15 minutes. It is crazy what you can do with the tools now. But what are you working on at the moment in terms of like how are you using AI within your business and what you're doing, it like both client side but also internally operations? What are some kind of cool things that
Yeah,
you're
for
working on
sure.
at the moment?
So many, so many different facets. I'm using it. I'll try and actually, you know what I'll do? I'll pull up my ChatGPT and then I'll just go through and explain through some of the things that I've been working on.
Why Paul's bringing that up, Charles? I was speaking to Paul the other week and was talking about, I'm building out my Notion system for like task management and things like that. And he showed me like his Notion system that he's using from one of his own mentors. And I'm like, far out. This is kind of like, to be honest, it was probably a couple of levels above what
It's a
I
lot.
wanted mine to be. But it's like it's got the framework to be able to do absolutely anything that you wanted. I think my version will be tailored down a bit because I want to focus on certain things. But I'm like, oh, this is like a really good reference point for what I want to do. And Yeah, thanks for that heads up, Paul, because I'm pretty sure that
Of
I'm going to
course.
buy that course,
Yeah, do it.
course and
Do
go
it.
through it, and
Yeah, do it.
yeah, implement
It's
my own version.
the Alchemy of Self is the course by Rhett Coots, United Mind.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bank breaker either. I think it was like $500 or something.
Yeah,
So
it's great.
if it can save me a couple of hours a week and give me ideas to finish my own Notion system that I'm buying, I'm like, that's worth it. So,
Yeah, 100%.
but also I haven't gone through it, but it seemed to come with a lot of content as well. I'm not sure
Yes,
if it's on
it's
mindset
excellent.
or
It's excellent. It's on the alchemy of yourself, transmuting your goals, passions, the purpose of your existence into business outcomes, personal life outcomes, and kind of just going through that whole process is fantastic. Fantastic course. I highly recommend it.
but yeah, no, I'm definitely jumping on that one. Sorry, mate. Have you got your
That's all right.
ChatGPT up
Yeah,
now?
I
Let's
do. I
run
do.
through it.
I'll run through some. I'll run through some. So just the basic. Okay. So one thing I've really enjoyed is using projects inside of ChatGPT. If I'm working on, so basically, like, let's take a new project or a new client. I'll just naturally create a part of the new SOP that I'm working with in some businesses. I'll just create a project inside ChatGPT for them, and it kind of becomes the wiki, like an internal wiki for that client. So I kind of
Smart.
push everything through them. So everything that I basically do previously when onboarding a new client, from avatar research to market research to figuring out the positioning, all of that. I just kind of like use ChatGPT as the springboard for a lot of that. I feed a lot of my older documents and SOPs into that. Now there's definitely more room for iteration. I'm still in the process of doing it, but I think you guys understand in terms of like you can go and completely kind of pull out all the chords and like let's just like rebuild everything, but then you kind of like tinkering for the sake of tinkering. It's kind of like if it's not broke, don't fix it. Just kind of iterate in small improvements. So projects are great. Be able to add in custom instructions per project is also really cool. And then having certain chats in those projects for recurring tasks that you action for that client. So let's say recurring reporting that you're doing. So feeding in, you might have an external reporting system that you're using, and then feeding in those reports to a specific data analyst chat. That's a historical version of that chat that basically just does what you'd be doing anyway, but on steroids and never forgets anything. So that, and then also improves the speed of the workflow in terms of your account management. So, instead of having to script a conversationally Spartan toned email, which might back in the day have taken you 5 to 10 minutes, maybe longer if you're not a writer, or like have the wrong tone or whatever it might be, it just spits it out for you. And you can obviously make your little edits like where appropriate, but it's allowing you to really work in your area of excellence with like the best assistant you could have asked for, whilst giving your client the best results that they can possibly get, given the current parameters in the marketplace and your skill set. And doing all of it and allowing you to do way more speed and way more effectively than you could before. So those are some things I really enjoy. And then on the more advanced side of things, like going down the rabbit hole of creating your own custom GPTs to streamline repetitive tasks that you're doing every month, or things that would usually take you like a decent amount of time, from might even just be like writing a blog article, from generating the idea to doing all of it essentially. Though custom GPTs have been quite good. And then other things I really enjoy doing in terms of both like managing budgets but also just building my own systems is using the custom coding inside of ChatGPT to help me build out spreadsheets or build scripts for spreadsheets, to automate spreadsheets, what I'm doing, or to build custom formulas, things that I would spend, days with like YouTube tutorials and looking up help docs online to figure out how to write certain code to get a spreadsheet do something for me. I just tell ChatGPT to do it. It gives me a script. I use the script editor. I press play, and then it just creates a spreadsheet for me, and it's the best. It's so sick.
Definitely use that a lot myself, that last one. But what I actually had never even contemplated is setting up projects for my clients. It's like a no-brainer. I do everything in Notion, and it would be so much easier to just have projects in ChatGPT. Also,
You can
when
connect
I'm on
Notion with
client,
ChatGPT.
can you?
I'm pretty sure. I haven't done it, but I'm
Oh,
pretty sure you can. Yeah.
I'll have to look into that definitely, because the other thing that I just thought about was I've got so I use an AI which is like a noise cancelling thing for calls, and I probably should turn it on if you're getting feedback, Paul. But um,
Are you
the
really using it, Jimmy?
I'm not using it now because on this software it delays
Yeah,
my
it makes
mouse
sense. Makes
slightly on
sense.
the
Makes sense.
recordings, but it gives me transcripts of the conversations. I should just be putting those in client and ChatGPT and like exactly what you said, using them as a wiki. And if I need to do something or remember something, or just be like, hey, ChatGPT, based on my last 3 conversations with this client, what should I action for today? And it just punches out things like that. So that's actually a really good call. I'm gonna go ahead and look into that. I don't know why I hadn't considered that, but that's another golden nugget right there.
Yeah, it's amazing there's just so much. There is so much you can do. I haven't really experimented much with the. So you were talking about creating your own custom GPT. Is that what you're talking about, Paul? Yeah, I haven't experimented with that yet. I've only started because I went down the Claude. I was like big on the Claude AI rabbit hole, and I kind of neglected ChatGPT. And then I realized, wow, there's a lot more you can do with it now. They've got like various already custom built ChatGPTs from
Yeah.
different providers. And I was like, this thing is, yeah, it's insane. And when you
I'm
start
also using.
overlaying the different tools as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. One of the other big use cases. So I'm somewhat into. I'm very very into my health, my fitness. How I say this. So like I have a bunch of. So there's like marketplace GPTs in there that like pre-built. So not medical advice. I use ChatGPT as my doctor. I use ChatGPT as my biohacking assistant. So, like I'm at any given point in time, I'm stacking a myriad of different supplements to improve my cognition or to improve my performance in the gym and blah blah. So what's really helpful, or the biohacker GPT I use is really helpful for helping me understand. Are there any adverse conflicts that may occur by stacking certain supplements together? What side effects it's going to have? Or how's it going to impact my sleep? I'm using it. I got my, and this I don't recommend doing because I mean, how I say this? I kind of think we're at the point now where like none of your data's private anyway, so
No.
it's kind of like be private, be careful with what you upload to ChatGPT. But I also think like we have no privacy, so anyway, it's a whole nother discussion. But in terms of, I got my DNA sequenced a few years back, so using ChatGPT to help understand how my genome, that's like certain things that I'm doing with supplements or how my body like processes caffeine or this, that, all the rest of it. So it's really interesting. Like using custom GPTs is so sick. Here's something else that's wacky. So like a bit esoteric. I'm a bit esoteric in the sense that like I've always kept a, well, not always, but like for the last 3 to 5 years, I've kept a dream journal. And since ChatGPT came out, I've stopped writing the journal down because it kind of wakes me up if I wake up, I'm like, meh. So what I do now is I wake up if I have a dream and it's like fresh in my consciousness. I don't even open my eyes. I just kind of like press the button on my phone and I just dictate the dream to ChatGPT, right? And then I fall back asleep. And then I'll forget that I've done it, and then there'll be like a fresh thread. But I'll dictate it in. Um, I've got it here, custom GPT called Dream Interpreter 2.0. So I'll like dictate it to that, and then it'll give me like a full on breakdown of all the symbolism and the analogy and the metaphor of the dream. And then I'll like bookmark those and then like put that into a project which is called Dreams. And then I've got like basically like a full catalog of all my dreams to help understand like subconscious. So I can like
Crazy.
psychoanalyze my subconscious like patterns. Really, like if you can think it, ChatGPT might be able to do it. You know what I'm saying?
The thing is, like, no one like ChatGPT must know us all so well. I mean, like, how many other people on this planet would know what you're dreaming about, Paul?
No one. No
Exactly.
one. I'm in the Matrix, bro. Maybe Facebook. Maybe Facebook. Here's what's crazy. I think the the meta algorithm's so good. This is a true story. I once dreamt about a product. This is so fucked. I once dreamt about buying a product, and the next day, I shit you not, I saw it in my feed on my stories as a story ad, and I was like, "We're fucked. We're fucked."
You were dictating it to ChatGPT, and then your microphone from Facebook picked it up, and it's like, oh, I'm going to serve him these products.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to do dreams. I think, yeah, my dreams are batshit crazy. I think I've been losing my mind with my. But saying that, you weren't far off in terms of using it as a doctor. Not that I would recommend it either, but I've used it with blood markers to like figure out what these mean, and kind of I will still refer back to my holistic doctor that I
Of course.
work with, but it's very useful in kind of figuring out all the kind of scientific terminology
Yes.
which So yeah, no,
The
interesting.
thing with that, so I've done the same thing. I've taken my MRI report from my ankle that I completely mangled up. I was like, write me a rehab program, and straight away it's like a rehab program. But what people don't realize too is they can, if they're working on something, Google's got their own AI now, new AI, where it actually can see what's on your screen and it shows you how to do everything. So if you're using a
That's
software,
cool.
it can guide you through. But ChatGPT, a lot of the time, if I'm working with code or certain data and I want it to explain to me, I just take a screenshot of it and send it to ChatGPT and like, hey, tell me what I need to do with this data. And it can just interpret the whole screenshot and tell you kind of exactly what you need to do. And I actually saw, going back to the meta buying side, a lot of people now, especially with ChatGPT's new image generator, they're going to the Facebook ad library of some of the biggest brands in the world. They're taking scrolling down to the bottom to the ads that have been running the longest because the thought is, oh, this has been running for so long, it must be performing really well for them. That's why it's
100%.
still running.
Yeah.
So they take that ad and they feed it into ChatGPT and they say, "Here's my brand, remake this ad with my brand." And it substitutes out the image for their own brand and it changes it up a little bit. And then you've got basically a creative that some of the biggest brands in the world are using, and it's now you can use it for your own brand in the space of 10 seconds. It's
Incredible, eh?
insane.
So good.
I think
Good nugget.
the guy that I actually saw chatting about this, his name's Simon Beard. He was the co-founder of Culture Kings in Australia, and he's got some great tidbits. I follow him a lot. Really smart guy. But yeah, he posted a story on it the other day. I was like, far out, that's insane. And he did it live too, so I saw it. Him take an ad. I think he took it from Starbucks. And then, yeah, he had another brand, substituted it in. It just changed the whole ad. It looked completely different, but it was like same format, same layout, just the brands had switched out
So
pretty
cool.
much. So I think you're going to see more and more of that. I think Facebook ads will probably improve because of how much content is being created.
Mm.
I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Paul, but previously we've had like iteration, maybe 3 different iterations of what people think might work, whereas now people are punching through hundreds of iterations and actually getting feedback on what is actually working. So they put more of that
100%.
out.
And with the shortcuts that like you just described, with those kind of shortcuts, it's not only are you cutting through the iterations that need to be made, you're also kind of like skipping to the end of the line and be like, okay, we know this works, so it's probably going to work for my niche, or there's a way higher likelihood of it working for my niche. Um, and also, I didn't need to pay a designer to go and recreate that and wait for that to be you know created for me and then do like iterations and back and forth. Just like, cool, let's send it live. I think on that as well, while that's such a dramatic improvement, the other thing to remember is, well, if that's what's happening, there's going to be, yes, a first mover advantage for those that adopt it first. Cool. You'll see a slight decrease in the cost of your ads, slight decrease in your CPAs, slight increase in revenue, but then it'll level out. Everyone will catch up. Then it's just going to be it's perpetual red ocean in terms of you're constantly going to be running to the bottom because everyone's going to be upgrading their skill sets and how their workflows. If you don't, you get left behind. It's kind of like how Ty Lopez was saying, those are the smartest are going to leverage the tool to get the most asymmetric return, whereas those that the weakest are just going to keep using it to figure out what they're going to eat for dinner.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're like it's all well and good to test what's been working for other brands, but definitely I think innovation's still a big part of the industry. I don't think it should be like a super high percentage, but you definitely need to be testing stuff at some point that other people haven't done or that you haven't seen much of. Because you're right, Paul, like once one thing works, especially in the marketing space, like I've seen those us versus them ads for like every marketing agency on the planet that's advertising recently. I was like, I know where this has come from. I know where the groups have come from. It worked really well for a couple of people. But now that ship's sailed, like people aren't even reading those ads anymore.
Well, yeah,
So you're
you're
right.
deaf, dumb, and blind to it because you've already seen it, and it's not clever. It's not innovative anymore. It's just cliche.
I think you definitely need a balance too, because I'm very big on like looking at the kind of the biggest players in the space. I always go to Amazon and be like, okay, what are they working on at the moment? One, they've got so much money and they're always testing. The thing that I noticed early on, probably like 2 years ago when they introduced it, they moved away from, they've still got their affiliate platform, but they introduced their influencer program, which is basically people uh unboxing and reviewing actual products. And then those videos actually go on the product pages on Amazon. And then if someone watches one of those videos and then purchases the product, the influencer gets a small cut of revenue. Um, when I noticed that, I was like, it makes sense. Like videos is what's driving trust. They want to see people using it. So that's when I started getting onto my clients and be like, hey, I know you've got all these images for your product. Let's get at least one video on there. And I think you can learn a lot from the largest players in the space. In saying that, like if you were going to their ads and copying that, I think there's going to be so many more people doing that that you're right. I think the fatigue level, I feel sorry for the massive brands because if they have had ads that are running for a while, they're not going to be able to run them for. I think that lifespan is going to shorten massively now because people are going to pick up on, hey, this has been running for ages. Must be
Yeah,
working, and then you're going to see duplicates of it across the internet in a very short space of time.
I agree. And then the irony of that is, well, people make the argument that AI is coming to replace us all, but there's a use case where, well, AI, the advent of AI is actually improving the need for original ideas and for the volume of original ideas to increase. And AI is modeled on LLMs that are modeled off everything we've all collectively created, up until the date of this inception. It's an interesting reimagination of the effect that AI might have. And if it's going to do
I
that
think
for
it,
advertisers, then what other industries will it have a similar effect on?
I think it will create so many more businesses too. Because I know when I just started out, I had so many questions, and it like you'd have to reach out to people and like network and find the answers to them. If I had ChatGPT when I started my business, oh my
Bro,
gosh, like it would have just
bro.
been like I would have been sitting there chatting with ChatGPT for like hours every night, and I still do it now, like with the new stuff that I'm learning, especially around coding and website stuff. The stuff that I did the other night would have taken me weeks. Like I was able to put together something in the space of, a couple of hours at night. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Bro, but just
it
on the code thing, just be able to use, like, I make small CSS changes to websites, and like I've got a small amount of understanding of how CSS works from like yesteryear. But now I'm like, CSS is a dream. I'm like, fix this, it sucks. Here's the current class, fix it. And it's like, here you go. I'm like, oh, it works, sick. Otherwise, back in the day, it'd be like
100%.
5 hours later, it'd be this big puzzle I'm still trying to solve, and I'm like, I don't understand.
But I think a lot of people that were starting out in business that may have been restricted by funds or because I mean, getting financial advice and website advice and like all these other things that you needed to get started, you can
There's
ask.
big barrier to entry, yeah.
Yeah, it's so much less in terms of I've got this idea, I want to do it, how can I bring it into fruition? And then, ChatGPT can guide that like so well. So I think we'll see businesses that will start because of that that never would have got off the ground otherwise.
It's idea to execution is like on steroids now, and with little to no cost. It's yeah, it really is. I mean, like you said, things you thought, oh, I'd like to do this business, but I haven't got the money, or I can't figure out how to do it. I don't have the connections. Now it's just a case of using these tools, figuring out a
Yeah,
market, bringing
yeah,
things to market quickly to assess
yeah.
Yeah.
if
Or
it
yeah,
actually is going to
100%.
work.
Yeah,
You
spot
know?
on. Because it's like, oh, I could just use ChatGPT to work out whether this is a bad idea and I should avoid it
Yeah.
altogether. Whereas like in the past, like, that could cost you like $50,000 in 2 years of your life. Maybe more.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
Or you just you're able to bring an idea to market very quickly, get that
Yes,
kind of MVP, and figure
yes.
out whether it's going to work or not, rather than procrastinating, spending 6, 12 months, 2 years, as you mentioned, like working on something and it basically going nowhere when it launches. So yeah,
On Meta ads again, Paul, for the people that have listened this far and even to, clip this for your own socials if you want, but if someone's looking for like you to run like meta ads, like what's your point of genius? And the reason I say that is because working for Google Ads, I know there's like a very kind of like I could do a decent job across all e-commerce, but I really kind of hone in on like high SKU, high data accounts. What's your point of genius or your ideal client when you're working in the meta buying space? And what
Yeah, for
makes you
sure. Great
different
question.
from hiring another media buyer?
For sure. I would say it's the marriage between the technical expertise with understanding the psychology of how that maps out over the platform. So marrying the tech with the psychology of how the end user is engaging with an understanding of business and the economics of what drives sales, what drives conversions, and what's going to be profitable. And it's kind of that holy trinity of all the above that makes me successful and has made me very successful in terms of running meta ads. Because I think and I'm not saying all marketers don't have that skill set at all, or advertisers don't have a skill set, but I think in order to be successful in running meta ads or running any paid ads, you have to have that kind of understanding of all three. If you don't, you could be really strong on creative, but have no real technical expertise. Your ads aren't being delivered in the right way. You might be choosing to run awareness ads at the top of funnel on Meta because you want to generate awareness. That's what Meta's told you. It's a very, very, very basic example. But you're running awareness ads because Meta's like, you should run awareness ads at the top of funnel, not knowing that you're basically just pissing away a bunch of cash, and you've spent like $10,000+ and you got no conversions to show for it. But the creative was wicked, but you're like, the results weren't there. It's like, well, the creative was sick, but your results weren't there because you chose the wrong campaign objective. And then also the targeting was off whack, and you used Advantage Plus audiences when you shouldn't have used Advantage Plus audiences. And there's actually no funnel, really. Like, this is like a myriad of things that can go wrong. There's so many moving parts. So it's kind of the intersection and understanding of how all the parts work together. And that's just on platform. That's not including the technical side of things in terms of has your pixel set up correctly? If you set up conversion side tracking correctly? Is Google Tag Manager implemented correctly? Is the website CRO? There's just a myriad of things. So I think it's the marriage and understanding and experience in all of those, coupled with understanding how to manage large budgets as well. Because what works at a small budget is not going to work at a big budget. I think that goes for all platforms too. And typically, you'll see if you don't know how to manage the larger budgets correctly, you'll see a lot of diminishing marginal returns set in. So just because you're scaling up budget doesn't lead to a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2 like scale and sales. So yeah, I'd say that's the secret sauce. And what was the other question, Jimmy?
Just basically that, like your area of genius and why people would choose you over other meta buyers. Yeah, I think you kind of cover that really well. I know
Thank
you
you.
care for your clients too. I think
I do.
I mean, it sounds like people would say that about most of their people they work with in the marketing space, but honestly, to find someone that really cares at the moment is like it's
Hard.
tough. And it's like I was telling Charles, and it's why we kind of wanted to get more meta buyers on because it's kind of a blind spot for both of us in terms of we are looking for reliable people to refer to in that space, and we wanted to get more people on here to build our own networks of like I want to network with other people that are doing this that actually generally drive results and care for their clients. So yeah, I think you do a great job in that regard.
Thanks,
too.
Jimmy.
But
Appreciate that.
yeah, where can people find you, Paul, other than the people that aren't just listening and can't see that beautiful URL down the bottom there? Where can people find you?
Best place to connect with me is going to be on Instagram, Paul Ramondo on Instagram, PaulRamondo. But I'm actually having a break from Instagram, doing a 30 days detox from Instagram at the moment, so I'll be back online in a week or two.
Perfect. And is there anything else that you wanted to throw in, Paul? I think I've invited you to the Facebook group today, Shopify Marketing Secrets. So if anyone has any Facebook or Meta related questions in there, you can jump in there. And when Paul's back from his social media sabbatical, then yeah, you can. I'm sure he'll visit them there. But yeah, is there anything additional that you wanted to add to anyone listening, Paul, before we wrap it up?
I think just to call to action, if you haven't even played with using custom GPTs yet, next time you have a problem, instead of just asking ChatGPT like how to solve the problem, go see if there's a custom GPT that's been built in that niche. Then ask that custom GPT how to solve that problem, and you'll be wildly surprised as to the outputs that you get inside of a custom GPT compared to a normal GPT.
It's a good tip. I do that a lot in the email marketing space. And Charles, you might have to do an SEO one for the Shopify marketing secrets.
Yeah, well,
Hey,
there's a
people
lot.
are in there. Hey, I just want to write a really good blog article, Charles. Oh yeah, just use this GPT and it'll spit it out for you in a couple of minutes.
There's a lot already being built, Jimmy. It's crazy. Paul,
100%.
appreciate you coming on. By the way, it's
Jimmy, Charles, thanks for having me.
nice.
Appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you likewise.
And if you haven't already, guys, check us out at Shopify Marketing Secrets on Facebook, or if you're listening to this, you probably already found us on YouTube at E-commerce Marketing Chats. Thanks again, guys. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, Tim.